Mais uma vez, bom dia. Vamos então iniciar o segundo painel da manhã, intitulado por Promover a Participação Democrática e a Resiliência para Migrantes e Integração Comunitária. A moderação será de Mohammed Mustafa, a quem peço que suba ao palco, por favor. European Association for Local Democracy, será também orador. Peço que o acompanhe Giulia Sostero, European Association for Local Democracy. Maddalena Alberti, European Association for Local Democracy too. Corrigan, Equalitas, coordinadores de la Red Nacional de la Fundación Analim. E Isber Sabrine, European Association for Local Democracy. Desejo um bom trabalho a todos. Obrigada.
Good morning everyone. Thank you very much to attend our panel titled Fostering Democratic Participation and Resilience for Migrants and Community Integration. Just to highlight that this panel is in collaboration between ALDA, the European Association for Local Democracy, and the Maddalena Foundation. So just for the time being, and also to highlight, this panel will be in English. But of course we have translation services, so just to highlight that. We'll just give a small introduction about the panel objectives and who we are and what we are advocating for. So as we said, we in ALDA, we are a key stakeholder in the field of local democracy, active citizenship, and the cooperation between local authorities and civil societies. We are membership-based organizations. We operate in more than 45 countries across Europe, the Mediterranean, Africa, and the Middle East, even now Asia and South America. And we are dedicated to the promotion of good governance and the citizen participation. My name is Mohammed Mustafa. I'm a project manager and also coordinating the migration flagship in coordination with my colleague Giulia Sostero, which is also coordinating the Middle East, Africa, Turkey department. Also, two of our speakers today, they are president of NGOs, that is member of the Maddalena Foundation, which is a foundation that working from the Mediterranean to promote intercultural and civil society dialogue in the face of growing mistrust and polarization. I will just also go super quickly to talk about our objectives and what we are advocating for. Within ALDA, we have this flagship on migration with two objectives. The first objective, as I said, we are a membership-based organization, mainly conducted of civil society organizations, municipalities and cities, and also the city of Valongo, for example, is one of our members. So the objectives of this flagship initiative is the coordination action for migrants' rights and also a community integration advocacy. And we would also, just to highlight one of the statements that we have in this initiative, that we believe that the diversity will continue shaping our future with a positive impact, and that, of course, this biodiversity can bring in nature, and it's already a part of our realities. And with this flagship or with this migration initiatives, we have some impact levels that we would like to work in. So I will just also, of course, go a bit quickly. We have 6 impact levels that we would like to work and to have outcomes on those levels. Of course, with our membership and community building. And then also we develop projects and initiatives, as I said, in biogeographical perspectives in Europe, Africa, and so on. Also working with local authorities and supporting them to enhance their policies at the local level to enhance the integration of the people from migrants background and migrants communities, and also to promote inclusive communities in our advocacy and communication efforts, but also to work with citizens and civil society, because this is our grassroots and this is our level, because we work at the local level. And also in terms of networking and advocacy, we have an ongoing effort to create a strong coalition of local and regional governments working with civil societies in multi-stakeholders approach. So how we were gonna do this? Of course, we're applying to a methodology with 5 figures. Of course, the first methodology is we are adopting, or we are applying a biogeographic perspective and cross-sectoral collaboration. Just to highlight that the Migration Hub is one of the hubs that we have in ALDA to ensure practical and knowledge sharing across different sectors. So within the Migration Hub, of course, migration is not a separated topic. Of course, migrants communities are youth, also they're females, males, so we work within our hubs, like the Gender and Inclusion Hub, the Environment Hub, and so on, to coordinate together and to align our objectives. Then also we are adopting a knowledge sharing approach that works with our members and partners always to capitalize our resources and to share knowledge together. But also we are adopting a bottom-up approach. As I said before, we are working at the local level. So of course, this is our grassroots, and we provide the feedback from the local level, from the cities, I mean, and also in networking and policy harmonization, and in capacity building and field work. So we were trying our best to stick on time, but also we would love to be more interactive with you. So here is a Mentimeter QR code. So you will find a question that you can submit to us and to our speakers, but at the same time, we have questions for you, because we also would like to gather your feedback and so on. So please scan the QR code and prepare your questions for our speakers. And now I will leave the floor to our first speaker, Maddalena Alberti, ALDA's Governance Board member, expert in the migration, and director of the local democracy association, Zavidovici, based in Brescia, Italy. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohammed, and thank you for inviting me here. I'm really pleased to be here, speaking about fostering democratic participation and resilience for migrants and community integration. I would like to have a premise with you. If we want to talk about supporting the participation of citizens with a migratory background, it is essential that participation and inclusion start from square one, which means how we approach the way we talk about it and how we address the topic and with whom. So there is no inclusion without the participation of those to whom our actions are directed in the construction of the content. And for this reason, in preparing this meeting, I was working with 3 people that I will present you in the following minutes from different migratory backgrounds, all 3 engaged in politics in very different ways. It was through working with them and sharing dinners with them on the topic of what politics is, what participation means, and what the barriers to their access to local, national, and European political life are, that the reflections that I will present you shortly emerged. So, just as a frame, as of January 2023, there were approximately 27.3 million non-EU citizens living in the European Union, which is about the 6% of the total population of the EU. I was struggling to find data about the participation of citizens with migrant backgrounds in the EU election in 2024, but I couldn't find concrete data. And this is something that maybe is interesting to highlight, like how we can find data about the participation of citizens with migrant backgrounds at the European level without being discriminatory in the way we collect the data. So depending on what? Depending on the names? No, of course. Depending on the city where they're born? Maybe. Depending on the way they want to define themselves as belonging still to a diaspora or not. So maybe this is something that could be interesting to discuss at European level and also at the local level. So how we collect data about the participation of citizens with migratory backgrounds at the European level. Anyway, what we can say generally is that when immigrants naturalize, they tend to participate less in elections and regular political decision-making. The level of participation, of course, tends to vary based on the migrant generation, with the second generation's migrants typically more politically engaged than their parents due to their higher education levels and better language skill. In the 2024 elections, the focus was also on improving this participation level, but through targeted outreach and policies, but still the participation was low comparing to the native European citizens. So when it comes to speak about highlights the barriers to participation, I would like to present the thoughts and the issues that we share together with these three friends of mine and political activists that are in Brescia, in my city. So I would like to introduce you Raisa Labaran. She's a city councillor in the municipality of Brescia. She's the vice president of the Islamic Center of Brescia. She's 33 years old. She's a professional nurse. She's born in Brescia, and she has Italian and Ghanaian citizenship. Her path to represent the citizens of Brescia was quite a long one. She had been always active as a second generation born in Italy, but still the barriers to participation that she highlighted with us were many of them. So the national legislation and policy constraints is the first one. In Italy it's really, really difficult to have the Italian citizenship. It was one of the highest barriers that the citizens with migrants background have to face. And then the financial and resource limitation for the municipalities to promote migrants' inclusion in political life is a barrier, because inclusive process costs, and municipality has to decide how much they should invest in inclusive processes. And then the lack of spaces where everyone can feel seen, and this is something that she would like me to stress. Being seen doesn't mean being watched. So as a black woman working in a room, she has the feeling that she's always watched. But what does it mean when somebody sees you instead of just watching you? And this is something very important in the way we approach the inclusion of people with migrant backgrounds. And then when you feel seen, you feel that somebody's hearing you and somebody's evaluating you and is giving value to the ideas that you are bringing in sharing with other people. And then, of course, hate speech and negative narratives. This conference is about populism. I don't think I have to spend too many words on this. And the lack of supporting networks to balance work life, family life, and political life. And this brings us to the concept of privilege. Only a minority of citizens with migrants' backgrounds have the privilege to have an independent job or a job where they can easy as the native citizens ask permits to go and participate to the political life without losing too much money. And also the privilege to have a supportive network, especially when we speak about being women, that have also maybe children, and so if you don't have a strong alliance with your partner or with networks that can support you, it's really difficult to find a balance. So as a native speaker, I can say I have my mom that is helping me and supporting me, but if my mom wouldn't be in my city, this could be really a big challenge. So I have the privilege of having my mom and my family around me that can help me with my baby. And then always about barriers, I will now give the words to Ibrahim Ba. He's another friend of mine. He's the vice president of the Young Guineans of Brescia. He is a refugee in Italy since 2016. He's 30 years old. He is a sales assistant and he has the Guinean citizenship. He's married and he has a son. Barriers to participation for Ibrahim. The lack of local networks made by local citizens who can support your candidacy at local level. This was really interesting to listen for him. We have this very interesting, and I will say something about this later, neighborhood councils in Brescia, in my city, but to be a candidate, to be a candidate, you don't need to be an Italian citizen. It's enough you're resident since 5 years in the city, but you need to have the signature of 10 people living in your neighborhood to be a candidate. So he was too shy to go around and ask to the citizen, can you please sign a paper supporting me? And this is an issue because he lost a great opportunity because he is really active at political level, also supporting the opposition in Guinea. And when we were speaking, we were also thinking about the sentence of Bernice King, the daughter of Martin Luther King, and she says, if you think that representation isn't important, it's probably because you have the privilege of being part of those represented. And we have to keep in mind this. Even to collect just 10 signatures for somebody can be difficult because they feel shy to ask support. And then, of course, again, the lack of financial resources. To have a political life, you need also to have financial resources, also to take permisses or holidays from your job. And then, of course, the language, not native Italian speaking, even if I can tell you that Ibrahim Ba speaks perfectly Italian, but still the feeling is that this is not enough to present himself to the local citizen as a candidate. And then, no, I just want to be back. Okay, and then there is Da Umar. He is the president of the Association African Immigrants in Italy. He is a refugee in Italy since 2018, 47 years old, waste collection worker, and he was a former general, he is a former general of the Ivorian army, and he has Ivorian citizenship. So this was interesting because he is the president of this association that he created in the last year. What he does is to invite young immigrants from Africa to behave in the proper way in Italy, which is something that we were discussing about, you don't have just to teach them to be good, to have access to rights. Access to rights, it's something that you need to have. I mean, we have to give this to anybody. And then, of course, if you're good, it's better, but still, this was interesting in sharing. And when I was asking him, so, would you like to be involved in politics? And he said, no, politics is war. I was a general in the army. For me, politics is war. My experience of politics is war, so I don't want to deal with war. And so we started to speak about, you're doing politics by running an association for migrants. And he said, how? Because you're teaching them, because you're supporting them, because they're supporting the process of their integration, so you're doing something with them, and this is so much political. So he was like, okay, then maybe I can say that I'm involved in politics in Italy. And then we were shifting to the fact that maybe in Europe we don't have the war with weapons. Actually, we have right now, but in the European Union we still not have. But we have the war with words, and again, the populism, the hate speech. So we can somehow compare this experience of war and politics. And then, what about successful strategies? So, for the three of them, even if just Rais is represented here, good successful experiences. Neighborhood councils and voting rights. This is important. Experience democracy at local level. Explore ways to extend voting rights, at least at the local level. And this is working quite good in Brescia. Involvement of the so-called second generation in shaping the city's cultural offer. Remembering that they are seeing and not just watched. This is really important. We were speaking about youth participation in the panel before. It was very interesting. Sustain our continuous partnership with local associations and religious organizations, all the religious organizations, not just the Catholic one. Involvement of the population with migration backgrounds, not just about migration-related issue, and this is very important, but about their broader needs and aspiration as any other citizens in the city. Raisa, she's always involved by the municipality of Brescia when it comes to speak about migrants' issues. And she was very angry about this because she was like, I am a nurse, I work in the health system, I would like to say something about this. And I'm a young woman, I would like to say something just about being a young woman living in Brescia. We don't have to involve migrants and citizens with migrant background only speaking about migrations because they are citizens as we are. and then implement integration policies, and then continuously monitoring and evaluate the effectiveness of policies aimed at promoting democracy participation, the promotion of mixed school of participative democracy. This is an experiment that we will try to do in the next months in Brescia, and valorizing previous experiences of political or civic engagement in their home countries. This is also very important. So just to conclude, how does the participation of citizens with migrant backgrounds deal with our colonialist past? Does our colonialist past influence participation? Of course. But I would like to conclude with the words of Frantz Fanon from the book Black Skin, White Masks, 1952, because I think that he got us many years ago the answer about this. The misfortune of the man of color is having been enslaved. The misfortune and inhumanity of the white man are having killed men somewhere. And still today, they're organizing this dehumanization rationally. But I am a man of color insofar as I have the possibility of existing absolutely, have not the right to confine myself in a world of retroactive reparations. I, a man of color, want but one thing. May men never be instrumentalized. May the subjugation of man by man, that is to say, of me by another, cease. May I be allowed to discover and desire man wherever he might be. The black man is not, no more than the white man. Both have to move away from the inhuman voices of their respective ancestors so that a genuine communication can be born. Before embarking on a positive voice, freedom needs to make an effort at disalienation. At the start of his life, a man is always congested, drawn in contingency. The misfortune of man is that he was once a child. It is through self-consciousness and renunciation, through a permanent tension of his freedom, that man can create the ideal conditions of existence for a human world. Superiority, inferiority. Why not simply try to touch the other, feel the other, discover each other? Was my freedom not given me to build the world of human? My final prayer, oh my body, always make me a man who questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Maddalena. Thank you very much for the informative presentation. And the interesting part for me personally was that you brought the voices of those people here. So we all know about them now, because always storytelling is a powerful thing. I didn't also mention this before because I wanted the audiences to go to be introduced to this, but also it's an important factor that to hear and let the voice of the migrants community be heard in all the in the multiple levels, and also to conduct with the book of Black Skin, White Mask, which also I currently read. It was a gift from a beloved person of mine, talking about inferiority, superiority, in also analyzing this situation in psychological, philosophical, psychiatric way. It's really interesting. And like the colonization, it wasn't that so far. Maybe it's like 100 years, let's say, but in the age of humanity, it's nothing. And we are still on that, like the follow-up or like the effectiveness of that. So after showing this participatory approaches, some challenges that faced by the migrants communities, but also highlighting some successful strategy. Now we go with our second speaker, Monica Corrigan, that will show us some key initiatives in the community level that enhancing the integration of the migrants communities, showcase some initiatives, some challenges, and the key objectives of that. So the floor is yours, Monica.
Thank you very much, Mustafa, and thank you, Maddalena, for that wonderful presentation. It was quite inspiring. Well, so I am here. My name is Monica, and I'm representing an organization called Equalitas. So we are the national coordinators of the Anna Lindh Foundation here in Portugal, but we are also a grassroots organization. We are an immigrant support organization recognized here in Portugal very recently. and also a youth organization. So what I wanted to bring here, it's a bit of examples on how to work directly in the field and what we are doing, and how our activities are kind of coming from the bottom to the top. So this is what I was asked to show a little bit today, and I'll do my best for it. What was the main thing I wanted to come up with? It's the main challenges that migrants are facing. I would say in Portugal, but I think it's quite common in many European countries, so you will feel the similarities, I hope. So I would like to start by these socioeconomic barriers, which is what we detected the main challenge that they have to face. Why? Because the access to employment, basically, it's what they remark and what we detect that they are facing mostly. What are the consequences of this? Is the level of poverty, the level of participation, the level of integration in societies. It's not there because of the qualifications priorly are not recognized. So what can we do about this? It all resides on capacity building, I guess. So just when migrants come to a new country, it's not that the system is very complex, or everything is different. So we just think, let's ask them what they need, and let's try to be there and translate all this functioning, this system for them. So we are designing projects which are a bit holistic, and they are focused on the access to social rights. So it's not only the employment, but also access to housing, access to employment, access to education, health, and also information. I think information is one of the main doors that gives access to people to their rights, to their social rights. So another barrier, another challenge that it's there, very present, is the cultural and social isolation. So what are we doing after promoting access to social rights is that we are going also to social neighborhoods. We are going to more isolated places, because what is happening is that in many cases they are getting in, we are promoting ghettos. I see that we are trying to collaborate with municipalities. They are building these social neighborhoods for people who have not yet achieved like a socioeconomic level. And they are all there together. And what do we gain if we have people with not a social, economical level, and they are living in neighborhoods which are not accessible? There are no transports, there are no hospitals. So we are actually trying to go to social neighborhoods and trying to make consultations and check what is happening here, what is missing in these regions. So I think also this geographical element is also crucial to detect, to analyze. Then we have these legal and administrative obstacles. People in the immigrant services, sometimes they are also not really competent on how to deal with intercultural profiles, people from different backgrounds. And also this, I think it's a key element, like trying to not only work and translate with the immigrant community, but work and support them who have to work with them, those who are supposed to be at the entrance door. So when I come to ask for my documents or what services are there available for me, so that also these technicians and these people who work for governments or the police or whatever, they are also competent in this field. So we are trying also to raise awareness on this and build capacity building strategies to train and make civil servants also aware and competent to translate and to support immigrant communities. As an example, there is this program in Portugal, which is the program from AIMA, the Agency of Immigrant Inclusion, Immigrations and Asylum. So the program for Associations for Immigrant Support. It's a yearly program. And what do they offer in this program is to settle with immigrant organizations. We can settle different offices, so we can provide legal support, we can provide social support, and we can provide information sessions. For example, there are plenty of opportunities. So we are in Equalitas trying to make the most out of this program and trying to bring it to the communities. What else then? The last challenge I wanted to raise here is the misinformation and stereotypes. Like, we are living in a society which is full of media and messages that come around all the time. So these stereotypes, immigrant people are coming here to steal our jobs, and etc., etc. I guess we are mostly familiar with this. I think it is crucial to deconstruct these narratives, to offer counter narratives. So also in our organizations, we are bringing the voices of the community, which I think it's the best solution. Just put them in the first line, make them the protagonists, and spreading podcasts or telling stories to show what is really happening. And another thing also that really supports, and we believe it's to promote this cultural and this complete inclusion. I guess it's creating these intercultural spaces and bringing these things that bring people together. So like food brings people together. So let's start by sitting at the table together, taking care of each other. So we try to promote projects like this. They might start as a simple thing, but then we try to grow up and bring issues to the topic, like more like what are our preoccupations, what are our real needs. And yeah, by arts and everything, I think we are managing to bring together. Another example, just a bit more linked with the Annalyn Foundation that I wanted to show here today, is the celebration of the Mediterranean Day. They are trying to, there is this, on the 28th of November, we celebrate the Mediterranean Day through concerts. So all around the 40-something countries around of the foundation, we have simultaneous concerts, but these concerts have to be in partnerships with local municipalities. So this implies also here, like local governments are also involved in this process, and this leads me now to the second part of my presentation, which is about, sorry, I went back. Okay, yes. The key role also of local actors. As a grassroots organization, for us, we are small, we don't have many resources, so a thing that we really need to do is to cooperate, to make partnerships, to work with other entities. And this is what we are trying to do. We are trying to collaborate with local municipalities, which is also challenging for us because we are at very different levels and it's difficult to find a common understanding. But this is crucial, I guess. Why? Because local authorities, they really have the knowledge and the capacities to analyze and to consult what is really happening and what they have in the territory. So we actually need this information, and information is power. So in this sense, we are working together with the Council of Europe and we are promoting the Enter recommendations. The Enter recommendations are a set of recommendations which are provided to promote the access of young people to social rights in disadvantaged neighborhoods. So this is it came really good to what we were doing because we were working with employment, education, housing, information. So the Council of Europe was really a very supportive and institutional support that helped us reach municipalities. Suddenly they started to take us seriously. It sounded more important, and now we are running a couple of pilot projects which are in different communities, and we are mixing these elements that we said before. We are mixing culture and arts and these intercultural spaces with the capacity building. And capacity building in all these areas, but not only for young immigrants, as we said before also with Maddalena, there's no point in only working with the immigrant community, but with the locals. So we are mixing the communities together, and we are bringing these artistic spaces, gastronomic spaces, everything together. So we start to feel this community, creating a sense of community among everyone. So this support from local municipalities is being fundamental. And what we are seeing is that we are also creating networks. We are starting to deliver also the capacity building to technicians and to youth leaders and immigrant leaders from different communities. So it's like we don't have to be there all the time. So this multiplier effect is happening. So there are options there, like we work with different kind of fundings, as I said before, the National Program for Immigrant Associations, but we work with EYF, which is the European Youth Foundation. The European Youth Foundation has a very strong mission in promoting these ENTER recommendations. So what we are doing is trying to train youth organizations and immigrant organizations from these disadvantaged neighborhoods in Portugal on how can they apply, how can they make their own projects. Even another funding that I wanted to bring here and that we are using a lot and trying to multiply, this is a very, very simple, I think they're small examples, but they also make the difference, is the European Solidarity Corps. These are programs for young people, from young people to young people, but it is, I think it's what I said at the beginning, from bottom to the top. So we are coaching a lot of young immigrants in these social neighborhoods on how to apply to these projects. And in this sense, then we make sure that this is the project they want to do. And they are answering and they are giving responses to the needs that they feel every day. What else I wanted to bring? Okay, also some of the best practices that we could share, which, yes, I think I put everything in one slide. Some of the good practices I think we've been doing. I will talk a little bit of advocacy, but I think we will go later on more in depth in this topic. This is not actually our main focus, but we do advocacy, and we've made some achievements because we use education, non-formal education, and education, human rights education. So human rights education is based on not only learning about things or like human rights, but is learning through them, just creating the whole setting and experiential learning so you can get the competences and learn for human rights. So this is an elemental part. Like, there is no sense on working on a topic if you don't advocate for it. So through awareness raising campaigns, joining councils of immigrant associations all together, I mean, I think we got to some changes in this program for immigrant associations, for example. We used to have 10,000 euros per year a while ago, and now we have 50,000 euros. And this is because we were demanding, we were writing letters, we were constantly there, no? And yeah, some other projects is like, you know, I think just get to the community, ask what they need, and make, you know, try also to get to the last trends, what is happening right now. So if people are now curious about artificial intelligence and how artificial intelligence can help immigrant communities to get more integrated in societies, so let's develop projects on artificial intelligence. Also about mental health, I think it's one of the main issues that it's nowadays coming from the communities, that we need these things. So this is what we are trying. We are trying to get to the most updated topics as well, and we are trying to be flexible and get the projects from the actual and current needs of the people we work with. And I think I have no idea how long I've been talking. Yeah, okay, no, I think this is enough. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Monica, for showcasing this really nice initiatives. And also the interesting thing for me was how, like in this small scale, of because you mentioned you are the president of like a small NGO based in Portugal, but with continuously work also connecting with like good advocacy effort, but at the same time also having a lot of initiative to do great partnerships to mobilize more your community that you are serving. It showcased really nice how small and migrant-led organizations could have an effect from, as you said, a bottom-up approach, from the ground, giving the feedback to the EU levels, for example. So by that, we can move on with our next speaker, that we will show how cultural heritage could compact the misinformation, and with that, we can fight with the grow up of popularity. So the floor is yours, Dr. Isber.
Thank you very much for this presentation. I am here to talk about and to share some reflections and also the work that we are doing. My organization called Heritage for Peace, and we are an organization working on supporting countries in conflict to safeguard cultural heritage. So we work Syria, Iraq, Yemen, Libya, Sudan, Gaza, North Ethiopia, Eritrea, and recently in Lebanon. So our main mission is to use cultural heritage for peace building. So because we believe that really cultural heritage is very important to bring peace and reconciliation, especially to the affected societies in conflicts. But again, especially in 2015 and 2016, myself, I am originally Syrian, living in Barcelona since a long time, and I experienced the conflict. I mean, now since almost 14 years, I couldn't come back to Syria because of the conflict. And when the refugees crisis started in 2015, I was at the time living in Berlin. And I discovered that a lot of refugees coming from Middle East, especially from Syria and Iraq, they are safe, they have food, but the needs are more than that. I think during the history of immigration in Europe, Europe failed to integrate the newcomers, and they didn't really thought about this emotional part of the people. And in Europe, I think as well, many people, they became, and especially the immigrants from second, third generation, became more connected to Islam, because Islam became like more an identity rather than a religion. And sometimes, you know, in 2015, 2016, many people, they went from Europe to be at Islamic State. And so all of these kind of things made me reflected that we need really to create this emotional link between the people and the host communities in Europe. And everything started from Berlin, but then with very simple questions. I go to the refugees, speak to them. What do you know about Germany at the time? They know Germany, Hitler, Frau Merkel, Mercedes, and that's it. Then I started to think that I will go out with them, explain them the German Museum of History, Pergamon museums, and other museums. So this was under as well the Pergamon Museum initiative at the time when we started. And when we go to the museums, especially the German Museum of History, they saw Berlin, how was destroyed and during the Second War, Dresden. And they became very emotional. People from Mosul or Aleppo at the time, they say, we will do the same and we will rebuild that, you know. So the same thing as well in Pergamon Museum, where is, you know, you can see like the treasures of the Mesopotamian archaeology. And the people, they see that there are things from Syria, from Mesopotamia, and also from Iraq. And they feel proud, really. I mean, this is from our country. We didn't know that. You know, millions of people, they come and see that. And, you know, you can see all of that, how it's bringing as well well-being to those refugees, you know. Our country is really not this country who is suffering the conflict and has that trauma. Our country was great, and all the other cultures are respecting our country, so, and our cultures. So then I believed we really need to work with that. And we started the Abwab initiative in Spain, in Barcelona, in 2018. So Abwab, the words in Arabic mean door. So you come to our door and we enter in your door. So, you know, so it's have like exchange meaning. Is a project aimed to work to the youth cultural heritage as an instrument for social integration and well-being. We are focusing, I mean, especially from refugees from MENA region and Ukraine. Now we are running the project since almost 6 years. And there are really like many lessons learned, which I would like as well to share with you and to reflect as well on the use as well of these powerful links that we have through cultures. We are very connected. I mean, in our cultures, in everywhere, we are very connected. And we have a lot of things as well that we still really need to know in order to respect and as well to share the thing. So Abwab is needed for many reasons. And here there are the reasons that we create Abwab. The integration of new arrival in their host society is currently one of the main challenges. So for government and for civil society, we know, and especially as well when the people they arrive. Myself, I mean, I consider myself as well a refugee. When I arrived to Spain in 2009, everything was very new. Everything was very difficult. But then when the war started, that everything became very, very complicated. I mean, the people that arrive with traumas, the people that arrive with many, many problems and psychological problems. Just eating and having the house is not enough. And because the people arrive with trauma, they arrive with very difficult situations. And they need really like to be close to the people who are receiving them in the country. So there is many cultural as well contrast between the immigrant and the host communities. There are many tensions sometimes could be, and especially we saw that, you know, and all of this was used by the populists as well. Discussions, you know, those people are out of our culture. They are like, you know, they don't understand our culture. Our culture is a Christian culture. We need to protect it from the Muslim invasions, you know. All of this discourse about immigration and especially by populists is very similar from Portugal to Germany to Sweden to Holland, you know. So and something very interesting, which also the populists, they use as well cultural heritage to make hate speech. You know, so for example, the Fox Party in Spain, the leaders, they come with the Conquista clothing, and you know, we are, you know, kicking out the Arab from Spain. The same thing as well in the Scandinavian countries. They come with the Viking kid addressing the populists, and this is our cultural, we need to protect it. And this is not like that. The Mediterranean, through the history, shows that it was always a place for exchange, for respect, for integration, for trade, for peace, for reconciliation. And also, we experience how cultural heritage is really a powerful tool. Spain, I am talking about Spain and also Portugal, they have many, many links to the history of to the Arabic history. We have the Andalusian history. More than 700 years the Arabs, they were in Spain, and they created great cultures, the same thing as well in Portugal. So because of political, religious, whatever reasons, all of these things are not known, even for the locals here. So when we talk about the Arab history in Spain, very little people, they know about the importance, of this culture, The schools, they don't teach so much about that, it's just very little. And the WAP is bringing those immigrant refugees with the host society, and we go to the museums. It's very easy. We go to visit, there are several great museums in Barcelona. I am talking about Barcelona, especially where we are more active. The Museum of History of Catalonia, the Manac Museum, the Archaeological Museum of Barcelona, the Museum of History of Barcelona. So we try to, through ABOAB, use cultural heritage for social integration. So, so the people, they learn, they learn about the new country. For example, we connect the history of wars to the actual reality. And so, for example, the Spanish Civil War, we explain objects and realities about the Spanish Civil War and how Spain, suffered so much in order to gain the democracy. And the same thing as well for those newcomers. Your country is in conflict, but, there is a hope that democracy will come, We also use the objects in museums. There are many objects which represent the Arab influence in the Spanish culture. So we use that as well. So what we make history of storytelling using the objects of the museums. And we can see this, how is really powerful. For example, this is this photo visit for Santa Maria Church in the Pyrenees mountain. So we bring refugees from different countries to visit the Pyrenees mountain and to learn about the reality of how, the villages and the mountains they live. We bring them to church, we bring them to a place where they make cheese. Then, they come together. We did several parties, so people from the mountains, they come with the refugees, all of them coming in a street in Barcelona, which is Raval. So we focus on intercultural dialogue, So we have really this shared heritage is also important for the intercultural dialogue. Something which also I want to highlight. Unfortunately, the world is not. There is no justice in the world, And in all Europe, we saw how, European countries, they treat the Ukrainian, and how they treat as well the other people from other countries. And there is no equalities. We talk about principles of human rights, of justice, of equal rights, but that was really very sad to see how, even the authorities, they treated the Ukrainian refugees in a way very easy to be integrated through the work permits, through all to get. But a person who comes from Syria or from Afghanistan or from other the behavior was totally different. They needed more than 1 year or 1 year and a half just to get the permission to work. So bring in, they come just from the second day they can get the permit to work. So this is something which, unfortunately, was sad to see, you know. Now we are not just talking about the museum. We talk about also a concert house. So through the City Hall of Barcelona, they have a great program for inclusion called Acerca Cultura, which is a platform that by the City Hall almost of Barcelona. In this Acerca Cultura, we can have the reservation as well, not just for museum, for also like the opera and the concert house and all of these, which are very, very expensive to go there. You know, so to go to the Liceo in Barcelona, it's very expensive. We can have tickets for people who come and to go to the theater by like just €1, you know. Sometimes could be like 50 or 100 the ticket. So we use as well, you know, the classical music. So we bring them to the Palau de la Música or to the Liceo or Auditori de Barcelona. And especially, there are a lot of, how we say, elderly people who just arrived. They don't have any capacity to learn the language. For them, it's difficult to get to work because they are old. I am talking about the middle age from 50s, 55, 60. And when they come and to participate to these events, we show how their self-esteem increase, you know, how they are very happy. I mean, the people come from like a concert of Beethoven or go out and we see that, you know, how this well-being, you know, this small thing is affecting really in immediate well-being of those refugees. It's still a very small project. We are facing problems as well to have funding because it's not easy. There is not so much resources for this kind of things. But again, we believe that this initiative really it's very needed. We still need to make it a global initiative. So we have ambition as well to extend it to other European countries and to make it more European initiative. So we hopefully will apply for European projects. But again, it's really very important for the integration and also for the well-being for those people to work on this. We also want to show and rediscover the city through the eyes of those immigrants and refugees. The people of Barcelona, they don't know how the Arabs, they live in Barcelona. What are their like brave place? The same thing of the Indian. So we hope in the future we will develop as well cultural roots. So the citizens of Barcelona, they can discover as well the Barcelona by the eyes seen of those people, you know, because they are amazing, like foods, places, you know, and we still need, you know, to destroy all these barriers that we have. You know, sometimes, you know, when we talk about this neighborhood of Barcelona, we say this is a little bit conflictive because there is an immigrant, but really there are, and absolutely, the Barcelona society and the Catalan society, they really show how really they are very solidary with the people, you know, and I am experienced that. I never have a problem living in Barcelona as a Syrian, you know, because I say I am Syrian, you know, so there is so really very appreciation to this city and to its inhabitants. This is a little bit reflection of what we are doing. So I hope what in the future we can do a more bigger initiative. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Isber, for this nice and powerful presentation. And it was really nice also to see that cultural heritage is an instrument that has two faces, like a positive but also it is, of course, a positive and cultural instrument, but also it could be taken in a bad way in the hate speech. I mean, as you mentioned before, and was really interesting for me to be highlighted. So I hope all of these interesting topics with our nice speakers pop up some questions that you would like to reflect and to discuss. So we have also some questions for you, because as I said before, we would like also to gather your feedback to enhance our work in the field of migration. So please scan the QR code, and then now I will leave the floor to my colleague Giulia Sostero to lead this interactive session of question and answers and so on. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Of course, you're totally free also to raise your hand if you have questions for our speakers. And otherwise, if you prefer, you can write. So we have, as Mohammed said, some time for question and answer, and then we'll pass through a Mentimeter session also to get your feedback on your perspective on the challenges of the inclusion of migrants in participation and decision-making. So we'll wait just a little bit to see if there are questions coming. Otherwise, I think that also Mohammed has many for our speakers. Okay, Mohammed, I think you can start with the one first question, in case, just to warm up. By the way, we also thought, as it was done already yesterday, we are here to participate, but we didn't have the chance maybe to talk to your neighbor, so we can also start by that. So you can just ask the name of your neighbor in order to see who's sitting next to you, and also to be a bit more participative. So we give you a minute to do that, first of all, and then we can come back to the questions. Okay, good. I hope that it helps also in making meaningful connections. Very good. Thank you so much. Mohammed, I think you can go ahead with the question.
Thank you, Giulia, for this nice initiative. As we are talking about participation, inclusion, and integration, it was a really nice initiative. Thank you. So I could start with just one question, then we can go with your questions. My question is specifically to Maddalena, and it says that in your experience working with Italian municipalities, what are the main barriers in your mind that you think prevent migrants from participating in local democratic process? But also, are these issues more related to legal, social, or cultural factors? Of course, I understand it's connected to all of them, but given your experience working in the grassroots, leading an NGO, but also in partnerships and consortiums with civil society organizations and municipalities, what do you think the main barrier that we should focus and try to tackle?
Thank you, Mohammed. I think that the main barriers is always the starting point, meaning that, as I was briefly saying before, participative processes are costing on the budget of a municipality, but it's not just a matter of cost in terms of budget. It's also the cost in terms of changing the perspective. So, for example, we were discussing with the municipality of Brescia and with Raisa Labaran as a councillor and an assessor, an Italian one, about this civic citizenship that the municipality would like to give to the youngsters with a migrants background who still don't have the Italian citizenship. And the points of view were very different, because for the municipality, something like to give something as I give you a prize. But for Raisa Lavaran, for example, the point of view was completely different. So she was like, no, you cannot give me a pen when you give me this civic citizenship, because it's much more for me. So we have to discuss if you give me the civic citizenship, it's just not being like, okay. It has to be something else. And so we move inside this discussion, so what is the meaning of this civic citizenship? And so we started to speak about this participated democratic school that we would like to propose to those who will have this civic citizenship together with the Italian citizens. And then again, one of the participants was proposing, yes, I have a lot of great professors in university that can give us lessons. Again, but why white professors giving us lesson about democracy? Why don't we try also to involve someone else to, and this is cost because it's not like the first answer that you have, so it's not easy as to go and phone to a professor in the university, it's to go and do research about who you can involve. So what we're trying to do, working with the municipality, is exactly this exercise, like always changing the perspective. Always being participative in the speakers. That's why I really wanted to take Raissa, Dao, and Ibrahim with me, because I was feeling ashamed to be here instead of them being here. But this is how the things sometimes has to work. So I was involving them to say, okay, I don't want to take your word. I want to represent you somehow. And I think that this is what we need to do with the municipalities, because they are overloaded with problems. So I really understand the difficulties that the municipalities has to face at the local level, but still, the way we approach each issue and the process and how we build the content is really important. So what we have to do as NGOs, I think, is to be always this way of pushing the municipality to not give just the easiest answer, but to move on to find inclusive answers. So this is what I think.
Thank you very much. Of course, go ahead.
Is this working? Yes. Yes, because I wanted to share a bit as well, because we also are in this mission and in this challenge of trying to cooperate with municipalities. And I think, we recognize as well all these issues, the starting point as well. And also remarking that each municipality is different as well. We have had even good experiences collaborating with municipalities, but when it comes to barriers, it's also, how to move from the paper to the reality. Because yes, then in the end we get partnerships, protocols, the logos in our projects, but then there's nothing else from there. So then we realized, okay, we took the first step, we overcame this starting point. Okay, now we got this municipality on board. That was very positive. But then after, some initiatives start, and then they don't reach participants, they are not in the field, they don't get there, and we said, how we continue from here? So that was the second step and the second barrier we found. And now we are trying to frame here and to think all together how can we make them more committed to this. And of course, they always say, we are lacking resources. We don't have enough human resources, and we also cannot support with financial support or whatever. But I said, okay, just give us a little bit, okay? If you commit to this activity, just some hours of a human resource that you have and a little bit of a budget from this, and then once it's like participants coming to training courses or whatever, I see when someone pays a little bit or puts a little bit from their what they have, they commit more. So the same is happening with municipalities. We are realizing that if they commit from the beginning, because at the beginning we were not asking anything else. It was just be there, be our partner. Yes, of course, it's good for them. It's good to have the label of, okay, we are implementing enter recommendations of the Council of Europe. It sounds very good. So for them, it's positive to have this label. But then nothing else. So this is what we are trying to do as well. Just give us a little bit there and a little bit, and then
Okay, and in the end, they support month by month by month, and they are a little bit more committed, but still challenging.
I just forgot one thing, very important one. The challenge is also that, wrongly, this is my perspective, the rights of migrants and the right of asylum is not seen as a constitutional or a human rights based right. So it's so much political that when you work with local administration, it's really difficult to have long-standing programs because it's such a political issue and it's approached not as human rights question, but as a political question. The approach you have about migrants' rights, that it's enough somebody changes or the administration change and you lose completely all the job that you were doing. Because the problem is that it's not approached as something dealing with human rights and constitutional rights, but it's just something that I can choose to give right or to not give because they are migrants. This is the main issue I think we have to work on. It's not a question of opinion. It's a question of rights, human rights.
Thank you so much, Maddalena. Thank you, Monica. To close the circle, I don't know if Isber, you have anything to add concerning your relations also with the municipality of Barcelona and the work you did with them. If you have any specific also advice, we have many local authorities in the room too, on how you can better work together in this perspective.
Yeah, actually, the idea always received very well, you know, so I mean, the municipality always, you know, say, yeah, this is really a good idea. But again, the system, I mean, especially, you know, the system of how supporting as well initiatives like that is very, very complicated. Because, I mean, Barcelona is, they say, it's the capital of the democratic cities, you know, so it's really like that, you know. So there are like maybe hundreds of associations, and the City Hall of Barcelona every year like have a budget for, you know, supporting those associations, and it's very competitive, you know, very, very competitive in order to get funding for that. Sometimes we can get some funding, but it's also limited. So the problem that we are facing, there is really very like small budget for these kind of things, you know. There is also foundations like, for example, La Caixa or La Caixa Foundation, which is, but again, it's not easy, you know, to get the funding. We decided, I mean, as it's difficult to get the funding, so it's still working like as a volunteering-based initiative. We hope that we really can get more attention from the municipality. I'm happy here too that we have someone is from the municipality of Barcelona, so he's hearing that. So I think after this presentation, we will have a better as well, our voice will be better heard by the municipality. So yeah, but again, as I say, it's really always in our projects. I am not talking about the projects in Barcelona. I am talking the global projects that we have in countries in conflict. Also funding coming from outside Spain, you know. So still, I think we need, and this is something called. I heard a lot about the participatory budgeting and all of these kind of things. I think we really need to convince the authorities to bring more attention to this kind of things and put more funding as well on that.
Thank you very much. Is there any question from the room, from the participants? Because otherwise we are ready to ask you questions and to reverse the dynamic. Anyone? Okay, then I would ask the technicians to switch the screen, and thank you. Now it's not working anymore. Like this. No. I'm sorry, it is stuck. Can you put back the screen just 1 second? Yeah, there are questions. I don't see them. Okay. It's because probably my screen got stuck. So sorry, 1 second. I'm sorry. I think it's a computer that got stuck. Can you see if you can read the questions? You see them? Okay. Can you please put back the main screen while I fix this? Thank you. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Would it be good if I answer one of the questions that I see here while we find...
Yeah, of course.
thank
have
you.
to save
Yes,
some time.
okay.
Thank you,
There
Monica.
is a question here that says, what if you give them the opportunity to participate and they don't want? How can we get their perspectives? This is very good. I like this question. So sometimes I think I see myself, I've been there, like promoting projects which sound kind of like boring or not appealing. Like we sell the projects, okay, do you want to have more access to your social rights? Join us and participate in our activities. And then, of course, they don't want to join because it sounds like, oh, that doesn't go with me. So normally it's more like, it's not that they don't want, because I've heard this speech many, people don't work because they don't want, they don't vote because they don't want. Sometimes it's our message, it's not well structured. I mean, sometimes we are not really getting there the way. So what we are doing in our organization sometimes is just trying to make the different messages in many different ways and trying to get, because in the end, I mean, who doesn't want to be, people don't want to have rights sometimes. It's not they don't want, they don't experience having these rights. So the experiential part it's very important, and this is what we try to promote many times. Like changing, like adapting the message, trying to find the appealing message that really goes after what they need. And then after, just not asking, but just giving them the opportunity to have the rights, have the right to a good quality education, have the right of a good this. So once they experience, they will see, okay, now I see that I really want this, or I really need this. And sometimes these are some of the examples that we are trying to use. And sometimes also working with young people, young immigrants, is just also creating these spaces. So bringing this, as I talked about food before, so sometimes things can start with on the table, but also these musics or painting, graffitis, or just going after what they really do every day. Getting in their daily routines, and this is what we try to do. Just live with the community, be there, be part of it, and sticking all together, and suddenly what you need is what I need, and trying to make this sense of community. So these are some of the key points I could give to answer this question.
Thank you very much. Now the computer is back participating with us, so we can go on. So I will invite just maybe one speaker to answer each of the questions, so we can go on also with the interactive part. So we have another question about climate. So where I live, climate disasters are playing a role in migration. What should cities do before these events to prepare for welcoming climate migrants into the community? You can also see the question on the front if you want. Does anyone? Yes, okay, Isber.
So actually, when because we are working with conflict and also in disasters, and sometimes also with conflict and disaster at the same time. The countries who are very vulnerable to climate change, we are facing a lot of immigration, especially from Africa, from the Sahara. They are coming as well to Europe, and a lot of Africans also coming to Europe because of the climate change, I think I will talk to the case to Spain or also to the southern countries like Italy and Portugal. Spain have a big problem which is called the voted Spain, which is like España Pasía. So we have like 1,400 villages which they are like abandoned, you know. So a lot of people who are coming as well from countryside, you know, they come and they go to big cities. They were farmers, those immigrants and those climate immigrants, you know. So for them, in order to learn the language, and it's a long process, you know, to be able to learn the language, to integrate in the work market. So I think one of the solutions could be as well, you know, all of those immigrants who came, they could have a huge role, you know, in the agricultural activities. You know, they could be trained, and you know, to work in agriculture, you don't really need a huge, like a language skill. You don't really need. Before your country, you were a farmer. So I think the governments, they need really to create programs to integrate as well, you know, those who are coming from, you know, farmer or villages, or to be in such places. And this is also could be a good benefit for everyone.
Thank you. I think you pointed out that, I mean, there are also social issues that need to be tackled in terms of urbanization and movements, but of course it poses issues in terms of services. So we need to make sure that wherever people come to live, they have access to services, they have access to transport, and that this process is done also in the respect of their skills and their capacities, indeed. Thank you very much. So we can go to the next question. I will ask one speaker again to answer quite quickly. So what's the challenges working with the integration question? As an NGO with the municipality, actually you already answered that, so that's perfect. Very good. Do you know some good examples of involving people with migrant experience in public consultations, especially those who don't know the official language of the host countries? Maddalena.
I don't have some very good examples. I just think that, I mean, the official, I mean, we can overpass this thing of the language using the translator and the cultural mediators. But the question is also about, again, the privilege. Like usually when people don't speak the language of the host countries because they had less opportunities to participate in courses, and also, so I think that the question that we should have in this case is why, which are the reasons that didn't give you the opportunity to learn the language. I mean, the language is important in public consultations because also to be with an intercultural mediator is not something always good. So I think that we should ask why, the reasons for which the lack of knowledge of language is such a barrier still, and to work on the barriers.
Thank you very much. Actually, I think we answered all the questions. Okay, so very good. We can go on with the questions to the public. We'll be very quick, I promise. I know you're tired and hungry, but we really want to know your opinions and your perspectives. So if you didn't connect to Menti, you can scan the QR code. Otherwise, you can also go on your browser, type menti.com and log in with the code 86223252. It will stay on the top of the screen if you need to log out after I start moving the slides. I'll give you just a few more moments in case you need to connect. Okay, I see nobody's scanning, so I can go on. So we have a few questions for you in the public. So what do you believe is the biggest barrier to migrant participation in democratic processes? You can choose only one, so we are making it really hard for you. Okay, so we're already seeing someone that is voting as language barrier, the most important one, but also lack of information about voting rights, fear of discrimination. We have two of that now. Also legal restriction as the main one. Nobody is voting lack of interest in politics. That's also interesting. More of information. Somebody voted it. I said it. Okay, very good. You also have the other option if you think it's another one that should be stressed on as the main barrier. I'll leave you some more time to vote. Okay, fear of discrimination is winning. Couple more seconds. In the meantime, the speakers can think if they want to share any comment about this question. Otherwise, we can go on. Okay, it seems that fear of discrimination is the most voted one, along with lack of information. Very good. Any comment from the speakers, or you think it's self-explanatory, we can go on? Yes, Madam.
I think we have to work on discrimination.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good indicator of where we have to direct our work. Thank you very much. Okay, also legal restriction, definitely. It's not an excuse not to work on that, definitely. Thank you very much. We can go to the next one. So which of the following would most improve migrant participation in democratic systems? So you have to rank them in order of importance. Someone already did. Someone did their homework. You have anti-discrimination measures in politics. You have simplified legal pathways for voting. You have stronger community engagement by political parties. You have educational programs about political systems, and you have multilingual resources and campaigns. It's a bit harder to rank than to choose just one, so you might need a little bit more time. Okay, it's moving. Anti-discrimination stays strong on the first position, reconfirming what we just said. Okay, you also simplify legal pathways. Again, it's coherent with the first question as a second most important obstacle. Okay, very good. I'll start moving towards the next one. I'm really sorry for the ones that are still answering. Very good, and thank you so much for participating. I'm really just mindful of the time that is running by. So the next one is again a ranking. Nobody had the time to do it yet. So it is about the benefits of increased migrant participation in democratic processes. Let's think of the positive side that we need to promote. What is the first? Again, among better representation of diverse communities, stronger democratic legitimacy, enhanced social cohesion, more inclusive policymaking, and increased community engagement. What do you think is the most important? And then you can rank the rest. In the meantime, I can tell you, you need 3 neurons left for the last 3 questions. Then, then it will be fine. Thank you for the hearts and the likes. Okay. Oh, wow. 14 answers all at once. Very good. So the first advantage or benefit is a stronger democratic legitimacy. As Maddalena was saying, it's not an issue of being kind and just, let's say, open-hearted. It's a matter of human rights and democratic legitimacy, as you are saying with your answers. That's the most important point and the most important benefit. If we are exclusive, we are not legitimate to be representing. And while it is tied, of course, the second one you voted is better representation of diverse communities and also more inclusive policy making. Thank you very much. I think we can go to the next one unless we have further comments, but I see that the speakers are nodding, so very good. The next one is a word cloud, so you can write one or a couple of words. In one word or a few, what is the most important factor for successful community integration in your opinion? Maybe you can try to focus, even if it's hard, on something we haven't said yet in this conversation. What are we missing?
Yeah, it shouldn't be a professional term. I know that we are not all work in the migration field, so just an easy Like, just take it easy and just share with us what you think, because it's really important for us to have this open-mindedness, for example.
Very
It's
good.
really nice answer. Thank you.
Exactly. It's not a policy term, but we don't care. That's the point. Building trust. Thank you. Also very important. Wow, okay. Convivial moments, needs-based approach, safe spaces. It's true, we didn't talk so much about safe spaces. Maybe directly you didn't name them, you talked about them, but without naming them. Dialogue, community-led initiatives, solidarity, also a very important concept that maybe hasn't been mentioned directly, and being less Eurocentric. Did you write that, Maddalena, or? How do I know you? Okay. We also have coexistence, third spaces. That's actually also a very important concept of spotting where we can meet, midway between homes and homes and work. Also, open hearts and minds, eliminate. Maybe someone wanted to write something more extensive than eliminate. In case you want to intervene, you can also raise your hand. Yes.
Love.
Eliminate barriers, thank you so much. Respect for diverse perspectives, social justice, equality, love. Wonderful. Actually, oh, sorry, that's my computer. He likes to sleep too. Okay, very good. We can go to the almost last questions, almost. Rank the most important factors that contribute to the successful integration of migrants into a community. So we've named some of them, but between those ones that are actionable, that are tangible, that we can work on while as soon as we go home from this conference, what are the most important ones? Local government support, we talked about that. Community involvement and engagement as well. Access to social services, economic opportunities, and multicultural acceptance. I swear we're almost done. We have a few seconds left. I can already anticipate I will wait for just a few questions to answers to come in, and then I'll rush to the next one. Oh, wow, very good. Oh my God, you're so fast. Okay, first one, access to social services, very good. Let's take a collective pledge and work on that. Let it not just be words. Economic opportunities, multicultural acceptance, but they actually seem almost equally important to you. So probably they're all important, more or less at the same level, even if access remains the first. Okay, very good. I'm pretty sure this is, I'm just going to check. Okay, yes. What do you think is the most damaging misconception about migration that needs to be addressed? This is open-ended. You can write some words or a sentence. Also, let's take it as a collective pledge to work on this. We talked about discrimination. What do you think is the most harmful misconception that we need to address? Invasion. Oh. Very interesting. Indeed, we are also working about that within ALDA on how the narrative revolves about invasion and how actually this is not at all true, especially if we consider the EU perspective and the EU relation to migration. Illegality, very good. Also another term that is improperly used on purpose, that migrants come to steal jobs. Of course, that's very, let's say, countersense, because actually, as you need European societies, especially Southern European, need workers. So definitely they're not here to steal jobs, they're here to save our societies. What we are structurally different instead of seeing common points among different cultures, very good. This is also what the ABOAB initiative seeks to stress, that there are illegal migrants, as we said. Perfection of migrants as less able to participate and contribute expertise. Very good. Okay, I'll rush to the almost last question. The last one is really easy. It's just a scale. What is your biggest takeaway from today's discussion on migrant participation and integration? Like, in a keyword, if you want. Just a word. What did you learn today? This is just also for us to better shape our next activities. Oh, you liked Menti. Very good. I'm happy if you also learned a tool. That's very, very useful. More funding is needed, of course. Taking over. We're feeling a bit revolutionary here. That's good. We are stories. I really like that. We heard their voice. Thank you. I think that exactly what Maddalena was trying to convey. Liberation is mutual. Amazing. Importance of being seen and not just watched. Very good. Let's work together. Yes, we are here for that. Thank you so much. And just a small ranking. How likely you are to apply something you have learned today to your work or community efforts, regardless where you come from, an NGO, an individual person, and a municipality. Okay, we already see some commitment. Quite likely. Probably the answers are loading. I don't know why my computer is a bit slow, but probably tired. It's Saturday. He's not used to work on Saturdays. Very good. Well, it seems so. Well, I would just give a big round of applause to our panelists. We are still around here at lunchtime if you want to come see us and talk to us. Thank you very much. And enjoy the lunch break.
Muito obrigada a este painel. Deixo só o aviso de que devem deixar os equipamentos de tradução no local onde os recolheram e que retomamos a Assembleia de Líderes Locais e Regionais às 14h30. Até já. Obrigada.